Now we are moving into our next project, which is our to-do list. So we are going to make a project on HTML, CSS and JavaScript, where the most of the important role is after JavaScript. So we are going to see how to create this particular to-do list in our web page. So let's move to our Sublime. Let's save it as in the name of to-do list.html. Okay. Now, let me first tell you, if nobody knows what is to-do list. To-do list is something like this, in which we have a sheet of paper in which we write the whole day what we are going to do. What are the things to do so that we don't forget it, right? So we write it and then we tick mark it. And if suppose we are not tick marking it, we are just writing it. Suppose some tasks are done, then we cut it, we remove it from there, right? So that is what is your to-do list. So we are going to create that particular thing, and let's see how does it work. So first of all, let me write the skeleton of the HTML. So I'm going to give the title as to-do list, copied the file path. So let's copy the file page. If I paste it here and reload, you can see the heading is to-do list, the title which is coming. And now in this particular white portion, we are going to write our code, whatever is needed in our to-do list. So what I'm going to start here with is two things is very important here, which is div classes and the class names which you are giving. So let's suppose I'm giving here the first one as container. What I'm doing here is I am basically typing h1 because I want a particular heading for my to-do list application. So I'm putting here a h1 in which I'm giving different classes. I'll tell you why I'm giving this particular different classes here. You will understand once I will write the whole code. So this is what is h1 looks like. So I have a div inside which I have the h1 and some br tags to give this space. Let's see how does it look. It will be very simple because it's just an h1. So just a h1 is coming. Correct. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create another div inside this particular class inside this particular div itself. So you can see we have the div and then we have the another div which is again class row. So there are two class which is having a row. One is your h1 and one is your div again, right? Understand the sequence how we are writing it. Inside this div we have one h1 and one div. So first we need to close this div and then only we can close this particular div, right? Let's see what I'm going to write in this particular div. We are going to create a form. Why I'm going to create a form? Because I want to make a text box in which we can put our list items, right? So here I'm going to make a class in which I will just mention input group, because in this particular text box I'm going to put enough number of inputs, because those are the list items list which I'm going to put inside. So I'm going to put here input, I'm going to put here text, input type text, and then I'm going to give here placeholder so that person can understand that what I'm going to write here in this. So in this I'm going to write here what? I'm going to write here to do items, right? And here I'm going to give an ID, the ID which we use it in our JavaScript. So I'm going to write here box because it is a text box. And in the style, I'm going to just mention here the width to be 30 VW. What is VW? VW is nothing but a kind of expression. How do you give, like pixels or centimeter, meter? See, in HTML we give pixels, percentage, or VW, which is viewport width. So we give viewport width here, and then this is done. So I'm going to close this div. Which is this div? This div is this one. And now I'm going to give a br, a space. So you can see one text box will be presented in my web page. So you can see one text box is coming. Now, why there is only one text box and I've written so much of coding? Because I've just mentioned our classes and all, so that while giving JavaScript code or while giving the CSS, we will not be having any problem. Now what I'm going to do, what is my particular thing is I want to give a button so that whatever list you will write here, that I can add it to my list, right? So I want to have a button here. So let's write here div, and let's give again a class. This class I'll name it as form group, and here I'm going to mention input. This input will be my button, and value I will just write the name as add, because I want to add those items. So once I click on add button, my list will be added to my list. Okay, now let me give the width. Width I will again take the viewport width, which is 10 VW. This is done because it's a button, so I have to write the on click. Now in the on click, what should happen? There should be a function which the description will be written in the JavaScript, whose description will be written in the JavaScript. This is done, and now let me close the div. This div is closed, and the form also will close, and the div also will close. So this div is now ended. So as you can see, now it is more structured. If you see, we have this row inside which we are writing the form, inside which there are two things. One is your text box and one is your button. So if you see now, we have our button here, right? We have our button in which we can write our to do item, and then we can click on add. Once I click on add, this particular list item will be getting saved in our list, which we have not mentioned till now because we have not created our JavaScript code, right? So this particular div is now done. So after this, okay, this form is done, this div is done. Now what we are going to do is we are going to write our next thing, which is our one more row. What is this row will do? I'll tell you. So see, when you are adding the element, it should be presented also, right? Like in my PPT, as I showed you, that these laundry, shop for groceries, wash the dishes, feed the cat, water the plants, these all should be visible, right? So to make it visible, we have to have one more div element where we will actually represent it in a unordered list manner. So I'm going to give a ID here in which I'm going to write list item. Okay. Now once this is done, I'm going to close my UL and I'm going to close my div. Okay. Perfect. So this is done. Now what we will do is we will close our last div, and now we can start our script, because that is the most important part. Because right now, if you see, nothing will happen in your HTML. It will just be like that. Even if you write something and if you click on add, nothing will happen. So you can see when I click on add, nothing is happening, right? Because everything depends on your script. That is why JavaScript is so important. So what I'm going to do here is we have to start writing our, explaining our, or giving a description of our function. So which function I have taken? So my function name is add item. So in this add item, I'm going to write the description. What I'm going to write, please have a look here because this is very important. Now, let me take a variable. So let's take let item equal to, and what I'm going to do is document dot get element by ID. Normally what I'm doing, whatever in the text box you will write, those all things will be saved into this item variable. That is what I'm doing. So whatever will come into the box, what text box? Text box. What is the ID of that text box? Box. So I'm going to write here box. So whatever things you will write in the text box, those all things will be getting saved in your item variable. From the item variable, where it should go? Let me tell you. So I have one ID here, which you can see, which I have written in here is unordered list, right? These item, whatever it will store, whatever items it will store, whatever items I will write, that will store, it should be presented or displayed around this unordered list, correct? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to write here this particular list item, and I'm going to mention here document dot get element by ID. From where do I want this? I want it from my list item. So I'm going to choose that. Okay, so whatever items will be there, these all items will be presented in the list item. But there is a problem. What is the problem? The problem you can see is whenever we write any UL, right, there will be li tag also, right, in which we write our values in the li tag. So we have to use that also. So how we can do that now? What we can do is, if we will write here if, and in the if we will write item dot value. Suppose somebody is not giving any value inside it. Suppose somebody is not giving any value inside the text box. Then what will happen? Nothing will be added, right? So what we are writing a condition. If item dot value is not equal to empty, that means if the item value is not equal to empty, so the item is not empty, it is filled with something, then you have to come inside. Then you will come inside, what will happen? We will customize our li element, because we have not written li tag here, so we have to create it with JavaScript. Okay, so we can create tags using JavaScript in short. So what we can do here is we can create our li tag. So make li is my variable in which I am going to write a particular function which is called as create element. This is your JavaScript command. Which element I want to create? I want to create an li. That is what I have written here. So this make li variable will create a li tag. Okay. Next, what I'm going to do in this make li, I want to add. So to add, what we have to use? We have to use append child. Okay. So after the make li, what should come? So after the li tag, your list item should come, right? And then after that, list tag should be getting closed. So this is your opening list tag li, and then you are adding your list item to that li. So how we can add this? Append child and then document dot. We are going to write here create text node. What text node? Whatever item value is storing. So in the item, where is the item? In this item, whatever value is stored, that will be added inside my li tag. And after that, I have to close my li tag. So what I'll do? After that, I have to close my li tag. So I'll write here make li, because I have to close my li tag. So to this list item, after that, when the item is added, I have closed my li tag. So in short, what is happening? I'll just write it here. In short, what is happening? This is happening. One second, sorry. In short, this is what is happening. So these 3 lines, in short, what it is doing? It is doing this, which will be directly coming here. Okay, that is what we are doing. So we are not writing or creating li tag in the HTML, but we are doing the same thing through JavaScript. Okay, once this is done, what we have to do is, now we have to make our item value to 0, because we don't want that any item should be missed out. So we are making this particular item value to 0. Okay. Now after this, let's see what is next. Now what we are going to do here is, once your particular list is saved, it should be displayed, right? So make li dot on click. Now what I'm doing, let's see. So I'll save this and I go to my web page. Let's see till here what we have done. So if suppose I'm adding here a list which is shopping, if I add here, okay, I have not completed the code, that is why it is not working. So let me first complete this. So what I want is, once my particular list is coming, what I want to do is, once I click on that particular list, it should get deleted. So a number of lists is coming. So all the list of items which I've already done, I'll just click on that and it will be deleted. So for that, what I'm doing, I'm writing a code on click. So in that make li, that li tag which you are writing, if you click on that, what will happen? It will remove that particular list of item from there. So for that, what I have to do? I have to take permission from the parent node and I have to remove that child from there. So I'm going to write here remove child. Which one? This one, which I have clicked. So I'm writing here this. So whatever item you will click, right, that particular child or that particular list in short will be deleted. So this is done, and this if condition was there. So else what will happen? That means if the item is not equal to empty, that means you have written some item there. If you have not written some item, then what should happen? Then an alert message should come that please add a value to item. This is what you should get when you are not writing anything in the text box. So now what we will do, we'll save this particular thing and let's go to our web page. Let's reload our web page and you can see this is how it is looking. Let me zoom it for you. And here let's start saving some of my items. So let's say I'm writing here shopping. Once I write shopping, I'll click on add and this is what is creating a list. That is what I explained you, that here these three lines are basically creating our li tag and it is putting it here inside the UL so that it is represented as a list. So if you know the list concept, then it will be very easy for you to understand, and also some of the JavaScript commands and functions which is used here, like append child, create element, create text node, those things. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to write another item. So let's see, I want to okay, let's say study, add, and then let's say play, add, and then let's say coding. So these four list of items I have added. Now if I don't write anything and if I click on add, you're getting an alert message which is please add a value to item. This is what we have written in our code in the else part. So if the text box is empty, then you'll get an alert message. That is what is happening. The next thing is if you want to delete the item. So we have a list of items. If I click on study, it is getting deleted. If I click on coding, it is getting deleted. If I click on play, it is getting deleted. That is what I have written here. So in the li list, if you click, the one function will be executed which will remove your list from there. Which list? This list which you are clicking. So I hope you understand this particular to-do list command. There will be no CSS for this particular project because it is already looking like a very simple and very basic to-do list. So there is no need of CSS here. So I hope you have understood this particular project, which is to-do list project.